Folks around here, we got stories tucked away in the deep hollows, stories that twist and turn like a creek after a hard rain. But there's one about a place called Booger Hole. It still gives me a chill right down to my bones. It ain't the haints or the boogers that scare me the most in this one, though. It's the quiet truth behind it all. The truth about Grandma Thorne. Now, Booger Hole, that ain't no made-up name. It's a real place, tucked deep in Clay County, West Virginia. Otter Creek flows through it, cold and clear, plumb cut off from the world it was. Way back, around the turn of the century, early 1900s, it wasn't much more than a handful of cabins, smoke curling from chimneys, smell of wood smoke and damp earth, always heavy in the air. Folks worked the land, raised their young uns, and knew every single soul from can see to can't see. And they knew about Grandma Thorne. Well, everyone did. My great-granny, Alara, she lived just a holler over, said Booger Hole got its name because folks always felt like something was watching them there. Not just animals, you understand. Something else. Spirits. Paints. Boogers. They'd tell tales around the fire, faces lit by the glow, the smell of burnt sugar and coffee strong in the air. We didn't have much, but we had each other, and we had our stories. And sometimes those stories were all that kept us warm, or kept us up at night. Grandma Thorne, she was an old woman, thin as a rail, with eyes like chips of flint. She lived in a little shack, a bit side-goggling on a rise, painted haint blue around the windows, like some folks do to ward off evil. She kept to herself mostly, but her name was always on folks' lips. Not in a good way. My great-uncle Silas, he remembered her, said she knew things nobody ought to know. And she had this mare, old Fanny, a beautiful animal, strong as an ox. Grandma Thorne loved that horse more than anything, more than she let on about any human, I reckon. The story started small, like all bad things do. A whispered rumor, a nervous glance. Folks said Grandma Thorne had climbed a bald way up high on a ridge, where the wind always bites cold. Said she cursed God 3 times. God! 3 times. The air would have been thin up there, smelling of pine needles and damp earth, the silence pressing in. Then, they said she pulled out a pistol, loaded it with a silver bullet, and shot it right through a clean white handkerchief, aimed at the sun. A token, they called it. A way to call the devil. impossible. They said the bullet hole in that handkerchief, it didn't just stay a hole. My granny woman, she swore on her mama's grave that a dribble of blood, dark and thick, started oozing from the fabric, right where the bullet had torn through. Not much, just a few drops. But enough. Enough to make your stomach clench, to make the hair stand up on your arms. Enough to make everyone believe the devil had accepted her pact. The smell of iron, they said, hung in the air. From then on, folks avoided her. If a cow went dry, if a crop failed, if a child caught the fever, Grandma Thorne's name would be whispered. She was a witch, they said. She was the one who put a curse on this holler. She could turn your milk sour with a look. You'd feel her eyes on you, even when she wasn't there. A cold spot on your neck, a sudden shiver, that's what they said. Why? And nobody dared cross her, not really. Then came Andrew, a man new to the cove, strong back but with a mean streak, folks said. He needed a horse for some heavy hauling, and he went and asked Grandma Thorne if he could borrow old Fanny. She agreed, but she warned him, clear as a bell, not to work that mare too hard. She's old, Grandma Thorne said, and she's precious. Andrew nodded, promised he wouldn't, but you could smell the whiskey on his breath even then. And a promise made with a drunk tongue rarely holds true. Andrew worked old Fanny hard. Too hard. He brought her back, sides heaving, a lather of sweat and foam on her flanks, the smell of fear and exertion thick in the air. Grandma Thorne saw it. She saw the way the mare was trembling. She saw the raw spots under the harness. And she knew he'd broken his word. And listen, what happened next, nobody saw clearly, only heard. Only heard. A shout, a shrill cry, then a single awful thud. My great-granny said the sound was like a pumpkin dropped from a high shelf onto hard-packed earth, but deeper. A lifetime of fear, of superstition, boiled over. Andrew went to the sheriff, said he'd killed Grandma Thorne, said she was a witch, said she was fixing to curse him, to turn him into a toad maybe, and the sheriff, he just nodded. In Booger Hole, that was reason enough. Grandma Thorne was buried in an unmarked grave, forgotten by most, but not by everyone. Ira, a young bride who'd married into the Booger Hole community, she'd heard the real whispers. Not about witches and packs, but about Andrew. About how he was a bad man with bad secrets. Secrets Grandma Thorne had known. My own kin, they believed it. They said Andrew didn't kill her because she was a witch. He killed her because she knew too much. Knew enough to ruin him. And that's the real horror of it, ain't it? That an old woman, isolated, different, could be murdered, and which was all the excuse a man needed. Poverty and fear, they're a cruel combination in these mountains. It makes folks see boogers where there's just a lonely soul. Makes them believe in fetches and hexes when the real evil is walking on 2 feet, smelling of whiskey and selfishness. The stench of injustice, it lingers longer than any bloodstain. The story, it's a token itself. The warning. My mom always told me, be careful what you accuse folks of, child. Sometimes the darkest magic ain't got nothing to do with spells. We still paint our porch ceilings haint blue around here. Still turn an empty rocking chair to the wall so no haint sits in it. Still don't whistle after dark. But sometimes, I wonder if we're warding off the wrong thing. Booger Hole still sits there, quiet as a tomb. The creek still flows. There. And sometimes, when the wind blows just right, you could almost smell that strange iron tang in the air, or hear the ghost of a lonely whinny. They say the mountain keeps its secrets. And this one, about Grandma Thorne, about what truly happened that day, it's still out there. Just waiting. Still standing.